Reading from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verses 1 to 11. When Pentecost Day came round, the apostles had all gathered in one room, when suddenly they heard a sound. When Pentecost Day came round, the apostles had all met in one room, when suddenly they heard what sounded like a powerful wind from heaven, the noise of which filled the entire house in which they were sitting. Something appeared to them that seemed like tongues of fire. These separated and came to rest on the head of each one of them. They were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak foreign languages as the Spirit gave them the gift of speech. Now there were devout men living in Jerusalem from every nation under heaven, and at this sound they all assembled, each one bewildered to hear these men speaking in their own language. They were amazed and astonished. "Surely," they said, "all these people speaking are Galileans. How does it happen that each hears them speaking in their own language? Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, people from Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and parts of Libya around Cyrene, as well as visitors from Rome, Jews and proselytes alike, Cretans and Arabs, we hear them preaching in our own language about the marvels of God." Pentecost Day, the birth of the church. It is a day of new beginnings. In this moment, everything changed. These fear-riddled disciples, afraid to move, afraid to go outside, they were now being told to go. Pentecost, then, is a feast of commissioning, a continuation of the message, the life, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Empowered by the Spirit, all are now commanded to go. But you're not going empty-handed. Note what happened here in this upper room as given to us by Luke in chapter 2 of Acts. They gathered in the same place where, riddled by fear, they had once gathered. The same room. They gathered in that room when Jesus had taken the bread and taken the wine and instituted Eucharist. What a contrast from that initial meeting to this one. In that meeting, Jesus told them to love one another. He had taken a basin with water and washed their feet. At that meeting, on that Passover, they were there, and he said, "One of you will betray me." It was a very dreary gathering at the end of that Passover meal where Eucharist was instituted. After the meal, he said, "Let's go to Gethsemane." And there he prayed, earnestly seeking the Father's will. It is the same group, minus Judas, of course, who will now gather in the same room, but now with a very different meaning and different intention. They are now in this room because they were told to be there. They were told to be there to be clothed with power from on high. They were told to be there because something new was about to break through in their lives, something totally different that they had never experienced before. They waited. But what was also amazing is that as they gathered, yes, not as fearful as they were before, but now the flames of fire, the flames of the Spirit, you might say, comes to rest on them. And everything changed. Note, there is no exclusion. We are not told exactly who is there in terms of names. All we know is that they were all gathered and all received the Spirit. Interestingly, this is the same Spirit announced at the very dawn of creation in the book of Genesis, the same Spirit that hovered over the deep and over the darkness, The same Spirit that allowed life to fill the first human being, the same Spirit that somehow or another hovered as we hear Isaiah speak of the Spirit, or as we hear Ezekiel speaking about the dry bones. It is the same Spirit. It seems as though wherever the Spirit of God is, there is life, renewal, and power. Dynamis, power, enlightenment, something that causes an explosion. But this explosion of the grace and power of the Lord will allow these people gathered in this place, hiding from the Jews outside there, hiding, they are now transformed into a totally different group. Now they're ready. The message of Pentecost, yes, it is the birthday of the church. Yes, it is something new begins. There is another dimension we can think about. Pentecost is the Great Commissioning. It is not come in, it is let's go out. From this moment, we are told that they would go everywhere announcing the good news. It is from this moment they would preach resurrection. It is from this moment they begin to form themselves into a real knitted community, understanding that everything they do from this moment on, it is through the intention of the Holy Spirit, not their own wills, not their own volition, not their own plans. Whatever they do, they consult the Spirit of God. It tells us much of how we are to live as a church today and as parish communities. We are a Spirit-driven church. A church heralds, yes. A church of sacraments, yes. A church institution, yes. We're a church of communities. But above all, we are a Spirit-driven group of people all over the world, empowered by the same Spirit that lived in the apostles as they gathered on that first Pentecost. We ask the Lord to bless us as we continue to live and move in the power of God's Spirit on this Pentecost Sunday. Bless you.